William Ruto and his government is on the spot again for issuing shocking remarks after the US government announced that the 13-month heavy fighting between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon would come to a close. The Kenyan government, instead of focusing on her internal affairs, decided to meddle up in issues that could cause great diplomatic and even military consequences. President Ruto's government has decided to tell the international community that they have welcomed the deal that has created a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah, and this is where Kenya has messed it all up. The president, through his Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, stated, and I quote, "The ceasefire agreed between Israel and Lebanon now paves the way for restoration of normalcy between the two neighboring countries." But why? Why would the Ruto administration care so much about this normalcy between Israel and Lebanon? In this video, I want us to critically analyze the statement that Musalia Mudavadi had issued on behalf of the government of Kenya and why it puts William Ruto's administration on a dangerous path in its relation to the American government's foreign policy. Number one, when the US government directed that there would be ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, we did not hear or see any statement issued by any other East African country. President Museveni has not released a statement on this. Our sister neighbor Tanzania is also still silent on this matter. Rwanda and Sudan is still silent on this same matter. In fact, I haven't seen any official statement delivered by an African country towards the same. It is quite shocking that Kenya is single-handedly trying to meddle up in high-profile international affairs beyond its capacity. William Ruto's government could not let this pass without saying something about it. I can tell you that this administration loves attention. Ruto is trying to parade himself as the authoritative voice of East Africa, and this is where his problems will begin. Because as a country, if we are fallen in love with cheap publicity and attention seeking, then we shall forget to deal with our internal problems that have been hunting us like nonsense. Number two, William Ruto had opted to consult the criminal Adani group that has been indicted in the United States just recently. This one pointed out the lack of seriousness and the careless nature of the Ruto administration, because if a whole government could not do their due diligence so as to establish proper background checks before engaging a foreign company, then the entire government, including the president and his ministers, have no moral authority to issue statements on matters of great diplomatic and military consequence, such as the Israel Hezbollah conflict that has now de-escalated. If it has taken the US government for the Kenyan government to know that Adani is criminal, then it means that as a country we literally know nothing about the conflict between Israel and Lebanon that has been going on for more than a year now. In fact, we have no moral authority to make comments on such international affairs. Number three, Kenyans can hardly put money in their pockets. It's a total shame for the Kenyan government to pretend to be so much concerned about the Israel-Lebanon conflict. We cannot pretend to look good abroad while at home our government policy is screaming the hell out of us. Ruto's government should first deal with its internal problems before it can gather the moral authority to comment on international issues. Kenya is still a third world country. Unemployment rate is about 60%. Not every child in this country has access to affordable and quality education. Higher education financing is totally messed up. High school graduates can hardly afford to pay for their university education, and yet the government is issuing up statements on matters that do not affect her citizens' way of life. Ruto's only responsibility was to ensure that Kenyan citizens who are trapped in the two warring countries were timely and effectively evacuated. But this was never promptly done. We waited till things have cooled down so that we could release useless statements and remarks such as the one that was delivered by Musalia Mudavadi. Number four, as we speak, Kenya is a divided country. If you are sick of hearing me say this truth, so believe me, I am. Before the government can comment on international conflicts, it should first solve its domestic affairs. Contrary to the popular belief, The impeachment of DP Rigathi Gachagua is what has messed up the unity of this country. It's like we have been divided into blue states and red states, like it so happened in the US years ago. The country is now divided into the Mount Kenya region and other parts of the country. The Mount Kenya region is rallying behind former DP Rigathi Gachagua, who does not stand a chance at leadership again, while the other parts of the country are rallying behind Raila Odinga and other political leaders with a contrary opinion to the mountain. I think William Ruto and his government should just shut up and unite the country. We have no business with the Israel Hezbollah conflict. We should leave that to the American government, who has the capacity, both militarily and diplomatically, to settle such high magnitude conflicts. Instead, what William Ruto should do is to look for agricultural markets for our products. He also needs to create an enabling environment so that investors from Israel, Lebanon, Ukraine, and other countries can come and create employment opportunities here in Kenya. Unless the president does this, his administration has no moral authority whatsoever to comment on any international affairs matter. Finally, what are the implications of the statements of the Kenyan government to the international community? If you ask me, I will tell you fearlessly that it only paints our government as a hypocrite who do not have a solid stand and only operates when money is involved. The US government had discovered this, and that is why they capitalized on William Ruto's vulnerability. That is why William Ruto was bribed so that he could send his police officers to Haiti under the pretense of the so-called advancing of democracy across the world. Giving comments on international affairs when our government structures and systems are collapsed only serves to paint our picture as the most corrupt country in East and Central Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, this is just but my opinion. Do let me know what your thoughts and ideas are in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more informative content such as this. In the event you are watching for the first time, please go over to YouTube and search for Patrick Odero. You will get a ton of content on political affairs in the country. Cheers.